Deals are everywhere in today's market. You just have to know where to look. I'm talking about opportunities available where buyers can now save tens of thousands of dollars on their next purchase. In today's video, I'm going to break down 7 real strategic ways buyers in Kamloops can find excellent value in the best buyer's market that we've seen in a decade. Before we get started, I'm Scott McDowell with the Kamloops Home Team. My team and I help buyers and sellers right here in Kamloops. And we're helping clients just like you find value, negotiate stronger, and make strategic decisions in today's market. If you enjoy this video, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any future updates. All right, let's jump into it. One of the best ways to find a deal in today's market is to hunt for high inventory neighborhood pockets. Not every part of Kamloops moves at the exact same speed. So even within single neighborhoods like Aberdeen, Juniper, Brock, there can be specific streets or little clusters of homes where listings start to pile up. When that happens, sellers suddenly find themselves competing with each other. That extra competition almost always leads to softer pricing, more negotiability, and longer days on market. The longer the home sits on the market, typically the more anxious and motivated the seller gets. When you have multiple options on the table, the buyer is truly in control. If one seller doesn't work with you for your terms or your price, you can always go down to the next property. So this little bit of flexibility gives you tremendous leverage when you're negotiating your transaction. These high inventory pockets are one of the best places to look because you not only have more choice as a buyer, but you're also dealing with sellers who understand that they're not the only option on the market. So the second way to find a deal is to find a building or a complex with unusually high inventory. So this applies to a condo building, a townhouse development, bare land strata, or even like a newer subdivision with multiple units coming up at the same time. If you walk into a complex and see 4, 5, 6 listings competing with each other, that's a major opportunity. Buyers love choice, and when buyers have choice, the seller feels the pressure. You often see the price drops, seller flexibility, and more motivation in these environments. In this situation, you'll often see price drops, a lot of seller flexibility, and more motivation in these environments. In a tight market, these are some of the easiest places to negotiate your best price. Just recently, actually the past month here, we actually had a buyer that we were helping out looking in an apartment building condo unit up in Pineview. There's actually 4 options on the market in the same building at the same time. We were able to secure and negotiate 10% off the list price for our buyer. So if you're looking for opportunities like that, you can really take advantage and negotiate really good terms. The third way to find a deal is to pay attention for vacant homes, especially over the winter time, but vacant homes usually mean that the seller has already moved out, bought another place, maybe had it rented and just decided not to rent it anymore. And when a home is sitting empty with 2 mortgages, utilities, taxes, heating bills, strata fees, you name it, every single month, the home becomes quite a bit more costly for the seller. Vacant homes often signal high motivation, especially over the winter months. No seller wants to heat, monitor the house, maintain an empty house, so vacant home can often sit for a little bit longer during this time too, especially if the home isn't staged. It's sitting on the market in cold, dark, and definitely isn't appealing to the senses for the emotional buyer. So if a buyer walks in and the place is dark and dingy, typically the buyer tends to lean towards the more staged home, the better lit house, and the house that basically appeals to all the senses a whole lot more than the vacant house. So if you do find a vacant home that's been sitting on the market for quite a while, there's definitely a deal to be made, especially if you're able to offer a quicker possession for the seller. Now, the fourth way to find a deal is to try to identify sellers who've already accepted an offer on their next house. These may be some of the most motivated sellers in any market. Once they've committed to their next purchase, the clock starts ticking, and then the urgency and the motivation for a seller starts increasing. A lot of times they do have a firm closing date and may face possibilities of carrying 2 mortgages, and they want a little bit more certainty with their sale and with their purchase. So they tend to be a little bit far more open to negotiating price. Sometimes they can be a little bit more flexible on the dates if they ask the seller of the place that they're purchasing. Sometimes they might include some repairs or even a little bit better terms for you as a purchaser on the property, because ultimately they need their sale to happen in order to make that purchase happen. Now, this situation isn't always written in the listing, but it does come up constantly behind the scenes. So make sure you have a good agent who uncovers a lot of these situations through a conversation with the seller's agent. So the 6th way to find a deal is to focus on property types that have become oversupplied. In every single market cycle, there's categories that fall in and out of favor with buyers. Sometimes it's condos, sometimes it's townhouses, sometimes it's higher end homes, etc. So the best way to find out if the product type is something that a buyer can use to their advantage is taking a look at the overall and total inventory for that product type, and then divide it by the amount of sales, typically within any given month or the past 3 months. If this is a high listing to sales ratio, this could be a great opportunity for a buyer. So I recently just did this for another buyer who's looking for a newer townhouse in a desirable area in the South Kamloops area. And currently there's 12 active listings in the price point that they're looking for. And in the past 30 days, there's actually been 0 sales. So this creates a great opportunity for this buyer. You have 12 people fighting for the one buyer who we possibly have. So that gives you a great opportunity to come in, offer a little bit less, and possibly pick up a good property at a good price. So oversupply doesn't mean that there's something wrong with the home or wrong with the homes or the neighborhoods or anything else like that. It just means that there's more choice for the buyers, which weakens the seller's leverage and opens up the door for some negotiation. And finally, the 7th way to find a deal in today's market is to try to find something that has a time-sensitive or a little bit more of a distressed situation. Yes, this does happen quite a bit more often than people think. You typically will have a job transfer, possibly a divorce, sudden relocation, some financial pressures. Maybe they purchased that second house and haven't sold their other house and shouldn't have purchased 2 different homes. Maybe they're carrying an investment property that's no longer making any sense with the higher interest rates, possibly an estate sale. All these scenarios do create a little bit more urgency for a seller. So sellers in these situations aren't necessarily desperate, but they can prioritize looking for clean terms and a little bit more of a quicker deal over holding out for a little bit more of the top dollar. So this is where buyers can really truly come in with a strong, respectful offer, secure a very good price, while still giving the seller the outcome that they're looking for. Again, these can be a little bit more difficult to identify, but with a good agent, they can help identify through conversations with other agents and using creative searching techniques and other tactics to help find you and put you in the best position possible. So these are just 7 of the best ways to find deals in today's market. Deals do exist in every market. It's just they shift from location to location. So when you know what you're looking for, you can spot the opportunities early and try to negotiate from a position of strength. And if you are thinking about making a move in the next year and want help finding some of these great opportunities, make sure to reach out to us anytime. We're helping families like you. And if you are thinking about making a move in the next year or so and you want some help finding some of these opportunities, make sure to reach out to us anytime. We're helping families and buyers in Kamloops every single week. We'd love to help you find the right home at the right price. All my contact information is in the description below, and make sure you check out my last video where we determine which market is best for you and your home search. Thanks again for watching. We'll catch you on the next video. Bye now.